Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Vikings cut cornerback they acquired in Andrew Booth Jr. trade last year. The Vikings have released cornerback Nahshon Wright, the team announced on Monday. He was acquired from the Cowboys in a trade for Andrew Booth Jr. last August, spent the season on Minnesota's practice squad, and then signed a reserve/futures contract in January. The Booth for Wright swap hasn't paid dividends for either team, which was always the most likely outcome. At the time, it was a trade of former Day 2 draft picks who hadn't panned out but might theoretically have some upside with a change of scenery. Wright, a third-round pick by Dallas out of Oregon State in 2021, averaged fewer than 100 defensive snaps per season over his first 3 years in the league, also seeing time on special teams. After being traded to the Vikings, he was cut after training camp and stuck around on the practice squad. The 6 feet 4 inches, 200-pound Wright is a massive corner who will now be looking for another NFL opportunity. He's 26 years old. Booth, who the Vikings took in the second round in 2022, played 118 defensive snaps for Dallas last season and really struggled. His 35.6 PFF grade ranked 153rd out of 156 corners to play at least 100 snaps in 2024. He also spent time on the practice squad, and he remains on the Cowboys roster at the moment. Booth was viewed as a high-upside pick when the Vikings took him 42nd overall 3 years ago, but injuries and poor play have kept his career from taking off. He saw roughly 250 snaps in 2 seasons with Minnesota. Releasing Wright has a minimal impact on the Vikings' salary cap due to the top 51 rule. It doesn't come with any dead money. It's an interesting move mostly because it's early April and the Vikings aren't anywhere close to the 90-man offseason roster limit. Maybe they think cutting him now, before the draft and OTAs, will give him a better chance to latch on with another team. The Vikings currently have 10 cornerbacks on their roster: Byron Murphy Jr., Isaiah Rodgers, Mekhi Blackmon, Jeff Okudah, Tavier Thomas, Dwight McGlothern, Najee Thompson, Ambry Thomas, Reddy Stewart, Khalef Hailassie. Jack Jones, who was officially released by the Raiders on Monday, is an intriguing name to monitor. 2025 NFL Mock Draft: Dallas Cowboys choose blocking help. After becoming the owner of the only National Football Conference team in the league that hasn't made it to the conference final this century, Jerry Jones has finally decided to relinquish some power so that this team can possibly see one more Lombardi before he kicks the bucket. Now, it's up to me to fix this dumpster fire. If this were real life, I'd probably start calling around to see if anyone's interested in Shedeur Sanders. Jerry has created such a mess that adding more picks to the arsenal doesn't sound like a bad idea. If Tennessee, Vegas, or Cleveland are willing to trade their early 30s pick along with a 2026 first-rounder, I think it's a deal you have to consider. Since the draft order is static, I'll go with the player I believe is the best fit at 12. And that player is Kelvin Banks Jr., OL, Texas. I honestly expected this to be a bit easier. This team has so many holes that you could probably throw a dart at a draft board and find an upgrade over a current player. However, with a few players falling further than expected, I had to make a tough decision. Before I get into my pick, I'll take a look at Dallas' other needs to see if there's a better option available. This might not be the biggest need, but since I already mentioned Shedeur, I'll just go ahead and address this now. I wrote this before the Cowboys traded for Joe Milton. Not changing it. Player considered: Shedeur Sanders. Current players: Dak Prescott. Will Greer. Shedeur at a glance: 6 feet 1 inch, 212 pounds. 2024 stats: 4,134 yards, 37 TDS, 10 INTS. Ceiling: Joe Burrow. Laugh. I do not care. Floor: Jake Browning. Base: Geno Smith. Argument 4: trolling aside, this is a legitimate need. Dak Prescott tore his hamstring off the bone last season, missing 9 games. He missed 4 games in 2022 due to a broken thumb and 11 games in 2020 with a dislocated ankle. When he actually is healthy, he can put up some pretty little stats in the regular season, but we all know what tends to happen in January. $. Jerry values the Stars brand over actual winning, and the Sanders name brings in money. 9.3 million people tuned in to watch a Colorado versus Colorado State game with a 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time kickoff. There's real on-field value in this. Shedeur is used to playing under the spotlight. While he's had his fair share of struggles and hasn't seen postseason success, I wouldn't chalk that up to mental pressure. He thrives under it. If put in the right position, I believe he'll have no issue playing for a team everyone loves to see fail. Argument against: thanks to Jerry's masterful contract negotiations, Dak Prescott is essentially locked in for the foreseeable future. Sanders would likely have to sit for at least 2 years, which may not be the worst thing in the world. The real question is whether Shedeur and Papa can keep their egos in check and stay patient in the media while waiting for his turn. Coach Prime has openly criticized his own offensive line in front of the media midseason at Colorado. It could get loud. That kind of dynamic could turn into a headache. Verdict: I'd need to think this over more if Dak didn't just sign a deal that leaves almost $200 million in dead cap over the next 2 seasons. Sanders is high risk, but also comes with the potential for high reward. Despite the bust potential, his value here is still solid. If Dak stays healthy, the team will likely pick around 20 to 25 next year, making it harder to land a top QB without trading up. Ultimately, I'd rather focus on building the team now and look for a quarterback later. The team that does eventually take Sanders may struggle with the media circus, and you could probably get him for a better value in a couple of years anyway. A lot of noise: Dallas Cowboys could land big play WR in NFL draft. With the 2025 NFL draft rapidly approaching, the NFL mock draft and projections are rolling out at a rapid rate. For the Dallas Cowboys, that has led to plenty of draftniks penciling in offensive playmakers for America's team. Dallas is in desperate need of a WR2 and can still add bodies to the running back room, and draft guru Todd McShay thinks the team will get Dak Prescott some help on the outside. According to McShay, there is a growing belief that the Cowboys will target Arizona Wildcats star Tetairoa McMillan with the number 12 overall pick. I'm hearing a lot of noise about Tet going at 12 to Dallas, McShay said. McMillan would be the perfect running mate for CeeDee Lamb and would give the Cowboys an imposing threat in the red zone. At the NFL Combine, the Waimanalo, Hawaii native measured 6'4", 219 points. In his final collegiate season, McMillan ranked 3rd in the FBS with 1,319 receiving yards while leading the Wildcats in receptions, 84, and touchdown catches, 8. He was named a first-team All-American and first-team All-Big 12 Conference. The 2025 NFL Draft will be held in Green Bay, Wisconsin, with the first round on Thursday, April 24th. Rounds 2 and 3 will be held on Friday, April 25th, while the final rounds will play out on Saturday, April 26th. And you, fan? What do you think about Tetairoa McMillan's situation? Write to us in the comments.